And here we are. Greetings and salutations, everyone. David Eon in the Chamber of Solitude, as it were. This, of course, is the Open by Chance. Open by Chance Toy Museum and Lounge. Sorry, a little distracted there. As we get ready to jump off here, another very eventful week. It's been very busy for us. Very busy for my wife and I. As many of you are aware, of course, we are taking care of her father, who has very bad dementia, and it makes things difficult. We went out today, not too much to report. It wasn't like last week where I picked up all of those amazing Fraggle Rock items, which actually are behind me on the wall right there. You can see them under the icon. Those are the Fraggle Rock pieces that I got from the flea market that I attended last time. Going to go ahead and say hello to a few people here that are jumping into the live stream. I see Kay Munin is joining us. Mr. Mind is here. Super Duck, Raccoon, Nerd. Glad you could make it. Hello to everyone else who maybe you're not able to chime in or whatever, or anyone who watches after the fact. Again, greetings and salutations. Thanks for joining us here today. Munin wants, come on, you gonna start that already? Came Munin's like, where's the crown? And Blue Splash is here. Yeah, I got the crown. Maybe I'll put it on. Maybe I won't. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Yes, the crown is handy because people are always asking about the crown. We did not go to anything significant today. We did go to Charlie's Collectible Show. But did not have any luck there. I was considering doing a live stream from there because usually when I attend any kind of a show, I will do a live stream. But because he had the nerd yard sale was supposed to be today at Charlie's Collectible Show. And for those of you who are not aware, Charlie's Collectible Show is basically the equivalent of an antique mall, but it's all toy and comic and like card vendors. Okay. And they do monthly events. And they had the nerd yard sale today. And we did go by there in Stone Mountain and check it out. Actually, we were the first people to ever film Charlie's and interview him when he originally set up in Stone Mountain a couple of years ago. But the nerd yard sale was all modern stuff. And I was like, I walked through and I looked at everything and I was like, yeah, this is all brand new stuff. This is fresh, hot off of the shelves. It's not the kind of stuff I normally would shop for. And it's not the kind of stuff I normally present to the audience. So I forwent doing a live stream from there today. And there's Robert is here. Excuse me, Robert is joining us. Yeah, I'm on at 5. And again, I'm on at 5 by myself because my wife has to tend directly to her dad because he really cannot be alone. Pastor Rick is joining us. Nerd is, again, of course, joining us. Glad to have you all with us today. So we went from there to the Peddler's Flea Market, which normally I come up with something, but I really didn't find anything there. Not very much luck at the Peddler's Flea Market. I did pick up some enamel Atari pins because, there is always the concept, my wife and I, of doing a pin jacket. Many of you are familiar with my wife's patch jacket that she wears to the shows sometimes, weather permitting, if it's cool enough. But she also wanted to do a pin jacket, and so do I. So I picked that up for a couple of bucks. The Atari enamel pin gift set there. So we can split those up. We can split those up. But aside from that, not much else. I have a couple of other things that I picked up at previous yard sales, which is vinyl record related, but it's more children's stuff. Robert says the book and DVD Blu-rays looking full in the back. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that's all after school and Saturday morning stuff, and you can see the Dragon Ball Z collection right there, and there's plenty of other stuff right there. That's right here. There's Battle of the Planets, Gachimon, 1, 2, 3 volumes. I got Tintin down there. There's Tintin, great show, mirrors the book precisely, and that's what I love about the show. You could follow along in the book, and it looks and sounds exactly like you're reading the book. The Voltron and Thundercats are over there, Masters of the Universe, all that kind of stuff, all that goodness. And Pastor Rick made a donation to the channel for the kitty cats. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And for that, maybe I'll even show you some cats. You want to see a few cats real quick? I'm sure I have some images of the kitties booted up here. Yeah, I got a couple. I do have a couple of images of kitties. Thank you again, Pastor Rick. Naturally, people do donate to the channel to help us out with our cat shelter. Here's Hobo taking a nap with some of his little friends. This is actually an older picture. This is these were kittens, and they always loved hanging around with Hobo. They liked Hobo better than they liked their mama. He was always there, and he always would snuggle up with them. And so that's a picture of them on a blanket on the back porch, snuggled up with Hobo. That's Monkey. That's Monkey Cat, curled up there. Yeah, Munin says it looks like Hobo's getting licked by another cat. Yeah, the cat was grooming his back. They all groom each other. They all groom each other. So there's Monkey. That's Monkey after his paws healed. As you recall, Monkey was brought to me by someone who found him in the engine of their car. And his paws were burned pretty good. And he was actually too young even for food. He had to be bottle fed. But that picture's from shortly after his paws healed. There's Daniel, the cleanest cat in the world. Daniel's very clean. But of course, you don't see Daniel too often, I don't think, in the pictures. Daniel's indoor. He's another rescue. Him and his sister, Dusty. Dusty's been adopted, though. And then, who else? There's Uncle. That's a picture of Uncle when he was still going outside. That's why he's wearing a flea collar. But he doesn't go outside anymore. He walked away from going outside. Doesn't go outside anymore. But yeah, so we went to Charlie's, and Charlie's is all new stuff, and I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling it. They're having another show that's supposed to be a toy show, specifically December 14th. Not sure if we're going to make it to that. I do know that, what day is that going to be? December 6th is the Retro Toy Swap in Powder Springs, and we'll definitely be there. And then December 7th, the very next day, is going to be the Conyers Toy and Comic Show. And I think we'll probably be able to go to both. And I'll do those as live streams. and do walkthroughs. I'll try to get there early. Robert wants to know if there's an Ollie's near me. Not too close. Not really too close. But again, went to Charlie's. Really didn't find anything for us because I'm not that interested in modern stuff. That's why I didn't even bother to film. And then went to Peddlers, and all we got were these enamel pins. But normally we do better at Peddlers. Yard sale wise, I did find a couple of things that are interesting. The kids stuff, Care Bears, A World Made of Love record and book set. See, there's a 45 in there. And a book that's set up like a coloring book because it's all black but it's not been colored. See? And of course, that's for LPH. That's something that I'm going to give to her. And there's Frankenfrog joining us. I also got this one, Peter Pan Casper. That's classic. Peter Pan Records, 1970s, Casper the Friendly Ghost. And this is just a record. See? No book in here. Just a story on vinyl. I've attempted to put a few of these up on the channel before, and I get in trouble. Otherwise, I would want to play them for everybody. Now, these are a couple of cool ones. Bert and Ernie's Sing Along, and this used to belong to Angie Tinker. See, she wrote her name on it. Angie Tinker Preschool. But Bert and Ernie's Sing Along. So you can sing along with Bert and Ernie. Man, there's a lot of there's 11 songs just on side A. This is pretty full. And then Everybody's Record. This also belonged to Angie, but now I have it, obviously. Frankenfrog likes the Fraggle Rock. Yeah, I know. I didn't know where else to put them, but they're fine right there for now. Blue Splash wants to know, when we lived in Chicago, did you go to the Kane County Toy Show? Yes, we had been to the Kane County Toy Show in the Chicago area. We have been there, and it's huge. It's too big to even really. I would have to get in early and film, and I'd probably have to start at least 2 hours before it opened. It's one of the biggest shows in the country. These, by the way, were like $0.25 a piece. These records. I also found some Red Ravens. Now, you may not be familiar with what these are. These are really interesting. They're all loose, and they are translucent plastic record discs. And these are 78 RPM, and these, I think, go back to the 1950s. Robert wants to know if there's a collector shop near us with retro stuff. Second Chance is the closest one, and that's close to the Retro Toy Swap in Powder Springs. And we actually filmed them once. We have a tour of their shop on our channel, Second Chance Toys and Collectibles. But it's been a while since we've been back there, and we've actually been invited to come and film again. But we haven't been able to arrange that yet because of the situation with my wife's father. This, by the way, today marks week 13. But these are the Red Ravens, and they are movie records. And this one is Frosty the Snowman, okay? And it's a 78 RPM. Again, this is like 40s/50s, okay? Now, what's unique about it is that it's magic motion, which is why it's called a movie record. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can demonstrate this for you to show you what I'm talking about here. I might can, let me see here. If I put it on here and you spin it, right? You spin it. It's not picking it up properly. Well, you see every one of the images is every one of these images is a different size or a slightly different design. So it's like magic motion or stop motion. So when it spins on the record, it looks like Frosty is walking. Or on the other side here, it looks like the reindeer is running. And that's why it's called a movie record. This one is Old MacDonald Had a Farm, translucent, like cranberry color almost. And the chicken and the pig run through the barnyard as the record turns. And then on this side, you have Little White Duck, and the duck swims in the water while the frog leaps. And again, because of the camera, I tried just now, obviously, but the camera's not picking it up right. But see, here's another one, me and my teddy bear. So when you're playing the record, you see a little dance or whatever motion on the record itself. And there's Richard. It says his wife and him say hello from Yonkers. Rich from Yonkers, haven't been around in a couple of issues with one of our kitties who we thought had a urinary tract infection, but she's come around. Oh, good. I'm glad she's feeling better. Little Red Engine and who's that? Toodles the Tug. Toodles the Tug. And of course, the tugboat chugs in the water as you turn it, or as the record player spins it, rather. I imagine if you sit there and turn it, it doesn't come out the same. And of course, Santa Claus is coming to town. And this one's like translucent green. It looks blue on the screen, the screen that I'm looking at, but it's actually green. And this is something you just don't find. If you looked up Red Raven movie records on eBay, you'll probably find them. But this is not something you just find out and about. It's very rare. I was surprised to see them. And again, you know, all the little kitty records, about a quarter a piece from like a yard sale deal. Not a fortune, but I don't want to have to spend a fortune, or else I couldn't do this. Then I wouldn't be the king of toys. There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I know somebody was waiting for it. The king of toys. That's me, I guess. It's an honorary title. It's an honorary title. And I know there are people that are going to be snarky about it. I actually, my live stream was shared on Facebook, and I was actually ridiculed for having the crown on by a couple of people. But that's how people are. Robert wanted to know how many Red Ravens I picked up. What was it, like 6? Let me see. Oh, it's 5. Okay, yeah, 5. I got 5 of them. 5 of the Red Ravens. And I wonder about that, if I should even continue to bother to share videos on Facebook at all. How many if I should even continue to bother. Is anybody here because they saw a link on Facebook right now? I mean, seriously. I don't think that sharing anything on the Facebook and really any of the social media actually works anymore. I think that it moves too quickly, and that nobody really pays attention. So I mean, I've got the Instagram, I've got the Facebook. If I share stuff on it, it doesn't seem to work at all. And I'm like, am I just wasting my time by sharing the channel or reaching out to people? And Tuck is here. He says, host of toy show has fun, internet people get upset. Basically, yeah. And one of the channels, people were like, a couple of people gave me shit for the crown. And it's like, just, you know, get over it. I didn't say anything to him because what's the point? Robert suggests Facebook and Twitter, nothing but horrible people. Yeah, a lot. Not all of them, but yeah, I understand. Blue Splash said no YouTube notifications. Yeah, that doesn't help either. That doesn't help either. The fact that people that are even subscribers to the channels don't get proper notifications. But, you know, you try to reach out, you try to share with people, you try to reach a broader audience, you know, and help the channel to grow, market the channel, as it were. And I'm like, how can I do it? How can I do it when none of the social media stuff works? Hashtags don't work. Put in an @ doesn't work. You know, again, sharing it on Facebook doesn't work. Doesn't seem to work at all. Richard likes the crown. I appreciate that, Richard. And my Toy Lanta t-shirt. I think it's the Toy Lanta, right? Yeah. Power up, Toy Lanta. Brett gave me this. Brett is the guy who runs the Toylanta and Joe Lanta. Gave me the shirt. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering about what happened with the CBC Awards, remember we were nominated in a category for CBC Awards, and they made their announcements a few days ago as to the winners, and we did not win in our category. So if you were wondering, I know some of the people went over there to vote. I appreciate that. I appreciate getting nominated. I'm not surprised that we did not win in our category, because I don't think the category was a good fit, to be honest. But still, because our category was statue and action figure unboxing, and I'm like, yeah, we do that, but we don't do that often. We don't do unboxings that often. You know what I mean? I think a better fit might have been live streams. They had a category for people to do live streams, for audience interaction, maybe, or because people that were getting nominated. I don't want to crap on anybody. There were there are people that were nominated that have so much going on the channel they can't even address the comments section, and I'm like, okay, but I wasn't in that category anyways. And then they had one for videotaping shows, which is actually what I'm best known for. But the category that they put us under, my wife and I, nomination for the channel was for unboxing of statues and action figures. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work. And yeah, obviously we did not win, but I appreciate getting nominated nevertheless. But in case anyone was wondering what happened with that, if you did not follow that or you did not check up on it, yeah, we did not win the category that we were nominated in. That's what Robert is saying. Great to be nominated. Sure. And Renard is here. Said he just got in from work. Glad you could join us here today. But yeah, there you are. Well, maybe next time, if we get nominated again. And then the thing that got me was they show a video clip when they said open by chance under statues and action figure unboxings. And they said open by chance, and they show a video clip. And I'm like, that clip has got to be like 6 years old. Where did they pull that clip from? That's like, it's really old. Like, oh no. And Patrick is here. And Frankenfrog thinks we should have won still. Well, I appreciate that. Robert wants to know if Pixel Dan, Justice Curry, or MIB were nominated. No, I don't think they got nominations at all. I don't think they got nominations at all. Actually, with Justice Curry, Pixel Dan has a lot of subscribers on YouTube. I don't know how many subscribers Justice Curry has on YouTube, but he's bigger on Facebook. Actually, he's bigger on Facebook, and I think so. Well, I don't know about MIB, but what is his name? Motu Joe. Yeah, Justice Curry has almost 16,000 subscribers. Just looking him up really quickly here. He has just over 15,000 subscribers. Or no, 15,800, excuse me. 15,800 subscribers. And I know that Pixel Dan has and hello, Patrick. Did I say hi to you, Patrick? That Pixel Dan on one channel, he has two channels that I know of. One of them has something like 330 something thousand subscribers, and one channel has like 20. 20,000. And yeah, Robert, they've all been on our channel. That's correct. Pixel Jan, Justice Curry, and MIB and Motu Joe have all been guests on our channel before. That is correct. We've done live streams with them in the past. And Austin Bird is joining us. Blue Splash wants to know if anybody else that's been a collector for decades that has lots of boxed figures like yours. Do I know anyone else personally that has lots of box stuff? Oh, what is his name? Ace Allgood. And we've seen him at Joe Lanta and Toy Lanta and Joe Fest. And Ace Allgood is the guy that has, I think he has everything 60s and 70s G.I. Joe. So America's Movable Fighting Man and Adventure Team sealed. We're talking $1 million collection. He's invited us to come to his house, but he's in like Michigan or somewhere. He to come and film his collection, which I would love to if we're ever up that way. And Zom says that we have a better channel than those other folks. Well, I appreciate that, Zom. I appreciate that. But, you know, I can't control the votes. Must have been voted on by Dominion. I'm kidding. I don't want to go down that road at all. I don't want to go down that road at all. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to get nominated. Again, just on a personal note, not picking on the people who run the CBC Awards. I don't think that our category was a good fit for this channel and what we do. Live streams would have made more sense. Or again, show tours, which is what I'm more known for, is touring the conventions. We get invited to come to shows. They give us press passes because the promoters are impressed with how we do it. They like our format. So I'm like, to me, that would have made more sense. But, you know, it was nice to get, nominated anyway, because we've never been nominated for anything on YouTube. So that came as a surprise to us when it first happened. Frankenfrog said when he started collecting, he wanted to be an open box collector, but I have multiple toys that I can't bring myself to open. Yeah, I know the feeling. We both do. I like the aesthetics of it. I like the way it looks when it's in its original condition. When you can look at it the way it was originally displayed. And people give you a hard time for that. And it's always people who have everything loose, because I get that a lot of times from people. They're like, oh, those toys are meant to be played with. You should open them up and do this and that and put them on display and let them breathe and whatever. And I'm like, okay, I've never seen a person who collects mint in box collectibles tell people who have loose stuff, dude, you should have left that in the package. Have you ever heard that? No, it's always the other way. I don't know what the problem is, but you know, I'll collect it the way I damn well please to, just like anyone else. If that's what makes you happy, open it. If it makes you happy to have them sealed, keep them sealed. You know, we just like it that way. We like the way it looks when it's still wrapped up, the toys, and especially if it's got really cool artwork or anything like that, or colors that just really pop. It, you know, to us, that's a lot more impressive, and it adds to the history. Of toys. Speaking of which, who remembers processed plastic? Processed plastic. Oh, Robert says MIB drives him crazy because he never opens his stuff either. He's worse than me because he doesn't even want anything that's loose at all. I'll take stuff that's loose if it's cool. Like I've got all of those jumbo Machinders from Shogun Warriors, the 23-inch ones. They're all loose. But I'm impressed enough with them that I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't need the box. It's cool. You know, it depends. Mostly I like to have everything still in the box, but there you go. Tuck says he knew someone years ago who bought 2 of everything so they could do both. Yeah, and I used to kind of do that. I've talked about it before, like the deluxe Star Wars figures, you know, the big ones from 1978. and the Kenner $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman line, I had every piece boxed and loose. One loose one, and I put it in front of the box. One in front of the box. Zom remembers Processed Plastic. He said they had reliable toys. Oh, Tuck is talking about new stuff. Okay. Newer pieces. Well, with that, you buy them on clearance. You can afford to do that. I do have some Processed Plastic examples here because, you know, of all the things that we have, these spark a lot of memories for people with the Processed Plastic toys. And I've got a couple of classic ones here. In Processed Plastic, they used to make blow mold plastic toys. AJ Renzi was more blow mold, but they made hard plastic toys molded. Primarily, they were best known for the stuff they did in the 70s and 80s. And you would go someplace like Kmart or Woolworths and buy them like that. Okay? Woolworths like that. And I got a couple of classic ones here, sitting here, like this one. It's not the General Lee. It's the Rebel. They called it the Rebel, but it's supposed to be the General Lee, of course, put out in the 80s at the height of popularity of the Dukes of Hazzard. And you see it's just kind of one pressed piece of plastic with a couple of bumpers and then wheels that are plugged in. So you could pull those out and put them back in the axle. And it says USA on the license plate. The price tag, that's the residue from the original price tag that's been removed from the top. I wish it was still there because I would leave that. That price tag, original, probably from, again, Woolworths, I would have left it on there. I would have left it on there. But that's a classic. And people see this if they ever were at a Woolworths in the 80s or Kmart or Bradley's, and they saw this, Caldors. Anyone remember Caldors? And it'd be like, I've seen that car. Faza Fan says, I collect vintage role-playing game materials. I like to read them and use them. I've paid more for open products over sealed ones because I can't bring myself to open a decades-old item still in shrink wrap. I understand that. And that Tuck said that. The Rebel, it looks familiar. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. And exactly. Processed plastic does that to you when you see this kind of stuff. Richard says the Shogun Warrior Jumbos, the boxes are as much as the Shogun Warriors themselves. Yeah. And the Shogun Warriors, all it is it's not even really artwork. It's just a photo of the toy on the box. So it's not as impressive as when they went all out for art. I mean, a photo is fine. It worked great for the Star Wars line. You know, Kenner was good for that. Kenner also did the photo boxes with, they did it with a lot of lines, but I'm thinking particularly with the Steve Scout. But they built a whole diorama and put the Steve Scout figures in it and photographed that to show like an adventure. And it's, which is pretty cool, actually. I like that. But yeah, processed plastic. And another one, a big deal one, processed plastic is the passenger jet. And these were made in the United States, by the way, in Illinois, actually. Processed Plastic had a factory in Illinois. And this is one, I actually had this one when I was a kid, is the jet. This jet. And this one still has the price tag from Woolworths on it. See, Woolworths, $1.29, because they would be in a box. They did come boxed. Processed Plastic would put things in boxes or on blister cards, but they also sold them loose. You would get like a big container box. It'd be like 30 of these in there, and they just take them out and they put them in those racks on the bottom, those cages that were on the bottom of the gondola in the aisle in the toy department, and they just dump them in there. And that's what this would be. And I had this exact one. And exact one because of the color schemes, because processed plastic did a lot of this kind of stuff in multiple colors. Like if you looked this up, you might find one that has red wings and a white canopy and blue rockets. They mix the colors up all over the place. But this one, and this one still works too, because there's well, it's got the little wheels on there that barely turn. It's almost pointless. But then there's a little button here that you press, and it pops the canopy up so that you can see where the passengers go inside, the passengers and the pilots. But yeah, I had this exact one in this exact color scheme when I was a kid and had to track it down. And it wasn't easy because I could find the processed plastic jet, but finding it in the right color scheme is what I was after. Could I find this one? And I finally did. And like I said, still had the price tag on. I see no reason to remove that. I know some people are anal about it and they want to pull that off. You know, I'll keep putting some of your comments up there. They want to pull them off. And I'm like, you know what? It's not obstructing anything. It's not hurting anything. That's history right there. I know where it was bought from. And I know how much it was paid for it, minus sales tax. But yeah, that's a piece of history. I like that. And one of the other ones, and I've shown this, I've done an independent video on this one from processed plastic as well, is the Apollo moon rocket. I did a whole video on this one because it was such a big deal for me. Richard said some of the Japanese Shogun Warriors boxes looked so much better than the American ones. Yeah, they were much more dynamic and they were better figures, period, because they came with a lot more accessories. Mattel did away with a lot of it when they transferred the licensing to the United States. So like any one of those figures would have come with 4 fists instead of 2. Like the Mazinger, that's the first version Mazinger from Mattel Shogun Warriors that was distributed in the United States came with 2 rocket firing fists and 2 regular fists. And you could buy fist accessory packs. Like there was one that had an elbow joint that flipped out, and then there was a disc in here with 4 rockets, and you could turn it and the rockets would fire out on springs. They had fist accessory packs that you could purchase. Paul had an F-15 fighter that was plastic like that. Lots of nostalgia for the old plastic cars and planes. It might have been a processed plastic, or Tim Mee. Tim Mee was another one. This was a huge grail for me when I found it. And that's the Apollo moon rocket. Multi-stage rocket, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, because this actually goes on the bottom of this capsule. 2 astronauts, and the 2 astronauts go inside the capsule, and then you snap this part onto the bottom of the capsule so that they're trapped in there. And then you can, this is spring loaded, and you squeeze these 2 pieces together right here, and the rocket launches off the top. And I had this as when I was a kid, and this was also a Woolworths purchase. Still has the price tag right there. Woolworths, $1.59. Not only is this still mint on the card, and this is from the 1970s, the card is unpunched. And processed plastic made the Apollo moon rocket and the Titan rocket. And that was also in multiple colors. And that is where you can get screwed up here as well. For example, mine was the same rocket setup as this, white, red, white, red, white. But then my astronauts were white, not red. But they mixed it all up. Like I've seen this rocket red, white, red, white, red, with the colors totally reversed. And that's, again, just something that Processed Plastic did all the time. And Delroy is here. Glad you could make it today. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about processed plastic a little bit. Man, I spent years trying to track down a processed plastic Apollo moon rocket that was still sealed. And I couldn't tell you how much time I spent playing with this damn thing when I was a kid, which is why I was looking for it. And there's nothing on the back, by the way. It's not even covered. It's just kind of stuck in there, which is cool. It's fine. And I did the original video on this. I did do a showcase video on this some few years ago. And man, it sparked a lot of memories, especially even when people who had who've come to visit our channel, or come to visit the museum in person. This is one of the things they stop at. It's like, that looks really familiar. Because if you're 40 and up, you probably remember this. Robert used to have the rocket, forgot what happened to it. Yeah, we all forgot. And Red Hulk wants to know about the new Jaws game. I don't know who's selling. I know that you probably have to go online to Entertainment Earth or Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, or directly on NECA's website, because they're the ones that are making that stuff. I've got the original one from Ideal. I don't have the modern one. Blue Splash wants to know the exact year. Oh, I'm going to say probably 75. It's not on here. Best educated guess, either 1974 or 1975. The Titan rocket would also be around the same time period, because there is also the Titan rocket, which is set up exactly like this, but it's the Titan rocket's a lot fatter. It's thicker, especially at the top. And if I found one carded that was less than like $300 and I could afford it, I'd probably want to get it. Richard said, didn't Super 7 do something like that with the Shogun Warriors? Yeah, they were doing stuff like they did Batman as a Shogun Warrior and a Stormtrooper and Boba Fett in that size range. And that's nothing that I would care for. I would, however, like the Mechagodzilla, because they made a Mechagodzilla that's a really good likeness of Mechagodzilla that's the exact same size as the Shogun Godzilla. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. You know? Seriously. And they also made space shuttles in the 80s, and I do have them if you want to see one. I have two, and I have two, again, because they're different colors. And like I explained, Processed Plastic, they mixed colors up all over the place with a lot of the stuff they did. They made a lot of boats, too. You probably had a boat from Processed Plastic. Red Hulk says his Godzilla used to attack that ship. I bet. I bet they did. But yeah, again, from Super 7, they did do a Shogun Warrior size Mecha Godzilla. If I was going to get a new item, that's probably something I would be interested in. I might even open it and put it next to or up with the Shogun Godzillas that I have that are on display currently in the museum room. Nerd has the NECA Jaws game. He says it's fantastic. And he has a boxed original. Richard said Mechagodzilla in a Shogun Warrior style. I would like that. Yeah. Let me see if I can find a picture of it for you here. I'm pretty sure they're probably on eBay, and they're probably cheaper than they were originally sold for. Again, not picking on Super 7 necessarily, but aftermarket, a lot of this stuff doesn't hold up. Just does not hold up. Let me see if I can find it here. if I can find the right one, because they get a lot of Mecha they made a lot of Mecha Godzilla stuff, but I'm trying to find it in the right size or the right scale. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I'm like, yeah, because it's also exact. I think because the original Shogun Godzilla is 19 inches tall. So the Super 7 Mecha Godzilla is also 19 inches tall, which is a perfect sizing for the original version. The other stuff, like I said, that they've done, I'm really not that impressed with. Because the stuff that they did, I'm looking for it here. Here it is. I found one. And I'll show you the picture of the Shogun Mecha Godzilla. The other stuff they did, like I said, they did Boba Fett and a Stormtrooper and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's just not interesting to me. Here comes the picture of the Shogun Mecha Godzilla. Or not Shogun, but Super 7's Toho Super Shogun, they call it. See? And it's got the little trucks, the little wheels underneath, and the launching rocket fingers. And he's about 19 inches tall. See? Or 20 inches with the fin on the top of his head. See? Measures 20 inches. And you see the rockets in his fingers and thumb. Well, the fingers anyways. And they're supposed to be spring-loaded firing rockets. And then you can see the little wheels under his feet. Here's a demonstration of the rockets being fired. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. More so than anything else Super 7 has done in this range. This is something that, if I came across one and it was really cheap, again, I don't know how this holds up aftermarket. This one says $395. It doesn't mean it sold for that, and that's still less than they wanted for it. But yeah, aftermarket, yeah, again, not on the radar. But if I came across one real cheap and it was in my budget, I could see grabbing that and putting it up with the Shogun Warrior Godzilla I have. Also, Bandai has been remaking the original Popey versions of the Jumbo Machinders, the 23-inch. They're 22 and a half, and some of them are 23. They're not exactly true 24-inch. I think the only one that is Dragon because of the spike on the top of his head. But Shogun Warriors has been making those. I mean, not Shogun Warriors, excuse me. Bandai has been making them identical to the original release versions. And they're a lot cheaper. They're a lot cheaper than the original versions. And anyways, like I said, if you're curious about the space shuttles, I do have them. I can grab them real quick if anybody wants to see those. But you'd be surprised. Robert wants to know if they're the same size as Metroplex and the Rancor monster. They're much larger than those. They're much larger than that. I mean, the Jumbo Machinders are almost 2 feet tall. They're almost 2 feet tall. But yeah, excuse me. It's the earlier stuff that really catches people's eye. Again, which is why I brought out the processed plastic and just talking about that a little bit. And Action Joe Figures is joining us. Glad you could make it today. Glad you could join us. Another one that really jumps out at people when they come in person, and this is getting really, really hard to find in this kind of condition, is the Fisher-Price Little People. Little People, remember these? Fisher-Price Little People. And that's the airlift helicopter. So he's got, like, here's your little guy with the little cap on. He's green. And he's got a cage that hangs on the bottom of the helicopter in a little box, like a wooden crate. And it's like, this is an 80s version. This is an 80s boxed version. This is like 1985. And the way that you can tell is because of how deep the blue is. Dark blue on the border of the Little People boxes is 80s. Earlier than this, the blue is much lighter, and I'll show you. See? It's a much lighter blue on 70s boxes than 80s boxes. But anything from Fisher-Price, Little People, still sealed, is getting almost impossible to find. More and more people are looking for this stuff all the time. Looking for this all the time. And loose, complete sets that are in good shape, they'll sell. They'll sell for good money. And there's Lee. Lee says they remember the Little People indeed. And there's Toy Chic joining us. Toy Chic has a channel where he does unboxing and showcases and things like that. But yeah, anything Fisher-Price Little People, still in the box, still with the box, physically intact, not falling apart, is getting up there. It's getting up there in price. And especially the older ones. Again, this is going to be 1985. 80s, blue, dark blue border. And then 1970s, and this is the Play Family Little Riders. And there's DC, or Dr. Cohen, MD, joining us there. Glad you could make it from Massachusetts. And the girl is facing backwards. And I can't turn her because it's not, I can't open this. So I can't turn the girl around. She's bashful. That's Patty, by the way. Did you know they had names? See, it's Patty and Butch, her brother. And there's your riding horse and your train engine and your creative coaster, it says. Tricycle and fun jet. Fun jet. And then, of course, you turn it around and you can see the happy child with the perfect hair playing with her toys. Playing with her toys. I mean, there are people that have pulled a tooth out to get something like this sealed. Again, like I said, it's getting harder and harder. Demand for this is going up. Weebles, too. Anything sealed Weebles will sell quickly unless it has some insane price on it. And I've got a couple. I'm lucky. I've got a couple of rare ones. I do have a couple of rare ones, Weebles. I've got a Flintstones carded set, and I've got a Sesame Street carded set. People are like, Sesame Street did Weebles, or Weebles did Sesame Street, rather. Yeah, they did. I have the Big Bird set. I have the Big Bird one. Anything like that that has characterization outside of their own IP, like Winnie the Pooh or Mickey Mouse Club. Weebles did the Mickey Mouse Club. Tarzan. They did Tarzan. The same thing goes for the Fisher-Price Little People sets. And this is a rare one. If I can get it up here. This will bring back a few memories, for sure. This will definitely bring back a few memories. Tell me you didn't want this one when you were a kid. It's the Play Family Sesame Street characters. And you got Ernie and Bert and Gordon and Susan and Oscar in his little can, Big Bird, Mr. Hooper, and Cookie Monster. And this is, again, Sesame Street ones from this series. Very difficult to find because Fisher-Price did Sesame Street, and so did Child Guidance. But Child Guidance made figurines rather than Fisher-Price little peg people like this. It's probably easier to find the Child Guidance ones than it is to find the figures from this set. And I just keep turning it, trying to keep glare out of it. Raccoon remembers Mr. Hooper. The others probably got lost. Robert asked about Kermit or Grover. No, not that I'm aware of. I don't remember. They might have done Grover, but not Kermit. I'm pretty sure they didn't do Kermit. And then there's the little children playing on the back with their little figures. Our little child models here with their Play Family Sesame Street characters. And again, you know, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for it. I remember being a little kid, really, really young, and wanting stuff like this. The one that I wanted a lot when I was a kid was the Castle playset. The Castle playset. I really wanted that. And one of these days I'm going to get one, even loose complete. I would take a 70s Fisher-Price Little People Castle playset, loose complete. And that's going to be tougher than you might think, especially with the little beds. Because you remember the little beds that they used to have in some of the play sets, right? The little houses. They did several houses. They did the brown house and the yellow house, and they have the modern house. That's a hard one to find, actually, with the tall blue roof, and it has like sliding clear doors in the front, something like that. The beds, it had foam. It was a foam piling that they set into the beds, and the kids scratched them all out. They dug all the foam out, and there you can find those. You can find those beds intact, but it's hard. It's really. Delroy says it's not a complete toy line without Guy Smiley. Yeah, Guy Smiley wasn't done much. The Spanish version of Child Guidance, I forget what it's called. The toy line or the toy manufacturer, because Child Guidance made a series of hand puppets, and I have several of them actually, but not the Spanish ones. And in Spain, they did Guy Smiley. Man, that thing is expensive. You want to pay $1,000 for a hand puppet, Guy Smiley from Spain. But anyways, I'll just have to settle for this. But again, those and Weebles, again, Weebles sets are getting to be very expensive now. The Haunted House is a popular one. The Weebles Haunted House, and there was also a car, a ghost car that was sold separately, and that's pretty expensive. But the Weebles Haunted House, the Weebles, the Tarzan play set, the Winnie the Pooh set, the Mickey Mouse Club, which is a cool set. It actually comes with little cameras and stuff like you're on a television set. the Sesame Street stuff from Weebles. Again, if you can find them intact, complete, especially stuff that has never been opened. Another one that's really popular is the Play School Familiar Places. That's where you get the McDonald's playset from, which I do have the McDonald's playset, and I showed it in a video some time ago. They had the McDonald's, the Holiday Inn. They had a fire station, a Texaco gas station, and a dude ranch with little horses and everything. And they also did, I think, Yellowstone. Was it Yellowstone? They did a national park, and it had all these little weird animals because, of course, the figures in the Familiar Places are little squares. They're like little rectangle people. It's weird. Robert says he's having trouble with ads. Well, if you're watching ads, I hope I'm getting freaking paid by YouTube. Damn. But I know ads are a pain in the butt. I completely empathize. I completely empathize with that. DC or Dr. I keep wanting to say DC. Dr. Cohen had the Weebles camper. They had two camper sets. They had the one where the truck, it was like a pickup truck with a camper attached, and it was light blue. And they had another one where you had a little car with a camper that hitched onto the back on a little hook. And it came with a little rowboat and stuff. Delroy played with the McDonald's playset a lot when I helped my parents clean a preschool on weekends. Unum wants to know since when do they place ads in the middle of a live stream? Man, you can't escape ads anymore. It's all over. It ads everywhere, all the time, for all kinds of things. You can't even talk about something in front of your phone and not have an ad pop up. Those days are over. But yeah, I have the McDonald's. I have the Holiday Inn. My wife gave it to me. I have the Texaco gas station, also from my wife. And I have the fire station that I found at an antique mall for cheap. And I do have some Weeble sets as well. Most of what I have is carded little Weeble figures. Lee had the fire engine. You're going to have me grabbing Weeble sets here in a minute. You know the toy room is only right next to me, right? It's only right next to me. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff I'm talking about. Richard said, didn't they have a Howard Johnson, or did they have a Howard Johnson's? Familiar Places? I don't think so. They again, they had the Holiday Inn, and they had I think a New Brunswick bowling alley. Howard Johnson's. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. And then Child Guidance. No, Child Guidance, I think, might have had the bowling alley. They did a bowling alley. And I know somebody did a damn bowling alley. They did a bowling alley, and they did a what was it? They did the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I do have the Child Guidance Kentucky Fried Chicken set. Let me see if I'll look at the Familiar Places. So I can show you here. I'll look it up on eBay real quick. So yeah, I see the Holiday Inn. I see McDonald's. I see the Texaco. That's a tough one. The fire station. What else? And that's all I'm seeing so far for Familiar Places. But like I said, I know they did a national park. I know they did for sure a ranch, like a little dude ranch with little horses and crap. It can be hard sometimes too because people don't know what's what and they mix things up and they'll have like familiar places stuff mixed with Fisher Price Little People stuff and things all over the place. Like they're totally confused. The Holiday Inn is cool though, because the Holiday Inn, the little rooms actually have toilets in them and everything. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. The detail that they put into it, the kind of detail that they put into it. There's a lot of familiar places stuff on eBay if you were looking for it. And I'll pull up. Let me see. I'll just pull up something real quick here for you, so that you can get the gist of what I'm talking about. I'll open up the one of the McDonald's sets so that you can look at it. There's Logic Blaster. Says, love open by chance. Hope you're doing well. We appreciate it. Robert wants to know if we watch TV in the room. The TV, well, that's actually it's supposed to be for the video game consoles, but we don't have much time recently. We don't have much time recently. Delroy's asking about a playset with an Interstate 80 sign on it. Interstate 80. That could have been the Holiday Inn. Hold on a second. Let me this is the McDonald's. This one's still in the box. See? Let's go to McDonald's. It's a cool set. And this is what I was talking about right off the bat. You see that motorcycle that's in that picture? That motorcycle belongs to a Weebles playset. That actually goes to the Weebles camper. But they don't know. they don't know. So they just took a picture of it. And then they don't even take a picture of the inside. Why don't you take a picture of the inside of the restaurant? They're only showing the outside. See what I mean? That's what the McDonald's set looks like. It's a cool play set. And what you might be thinking of, let me see. I'll pull up the Holiday Inn and you tell me if it looks familiar. Here's a picture of that's of one of the Holiday Inns here. This is the Play School Familiar Places Holiday Inn. And once again, you see what they did here. They've got a Richard Scarry figurine. They've got people from Fisher Price Little People. They've got Fisher Price Little People vehicles. And then a handful of Holiday Inn accessories. Yeah, this is not a good representation. But they did have a sign in the front of the building. The sign's missing from this auction. So it's not a good representation. Maybe I can find one with a picture of the box so that you can see it better. Logic had that McDonald's. It's a great set. It's a great set. Here's a picture of the box. Familiar Places. And you see it's got the sign there in the front. I don't know why it does that. Right there. Stay put. And it's got the flags and That right there is funny because that woman is actually sitting in the bathtub in one of the hotel rooms. And then to the left of that is the sink. And to the left of that is actually a toilet. Yes. I don't know if they show clear enough. I'm looking down the side here to see if they have a clear enough picture of the interior to demonstrate that. And that's the mat that it would lay on. See a little pool and everything. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. See? Bathtub, sink, and toilet, and the lid does open and close. That's clever. That's clever. Right on the signage. See? Holiday Inn right there. Robert. Robert didn't see the Holiday Inn sign. And then let me see if I can even find it on here. Like I said, I do have one myself, and that's the KFC from Child Guidance. Let me see here. If there is one even available. Yeah, there's a couple. They're not cheap. Hold on a second. This is a nice example. The box looks good. Let me pull this one up. Again, just looking at eBay here really quickly. See, let's play at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then there's the play set. And those are the correct people pointing it out. Those, because they're little rubber finger puppets, little rubber finger puppet people, see? And there's a little slot in the front of them. You see how there's like a little cutout in the front of the little figures? Because that's where the lunch tray goes. See the trays here? And each of the trays has like a chicken bucket on it. And the chairs have little bumps on them because, again, they're finger puppets, so they plug into the chairs. And this guy, he's got a weird helmet on because he's the guy that's riding the motorcycle. The motorcycle and these little cars come with this playset. And I do have this playset. There's the Colonel, because he's the one running the cash register. I mean, that's fantastic. That's back when this kind of merchandising meant something, you know. People don't care about this kind of stuff anymore. But to us, it's very nostalgic because it was a different world there. Logic said they had a whole bunch of metal Tonka vehicles in various sizes, some of which would accommodate figures from various companies, including Weebles. It was so much fun indeed. Yeah, Tonka did make a lot of different size vehicles, and you could fit a figure like maybe a Weeble in it, or maybe a 3 3/4 inch figure would fit in some of those. Dr. Cohen said, how do you decide which figures you put in clamshells and where do you get them? They all seem expensive. It depends. I mean, some clamshells are expensive. It depends on how uncommon the size is. And I'll put every carded figure in a clamshell if I can get away with it, just in case they fall or they get damaged or anything like that, you know. Because I don't want anything bad to happen to them. And what's this? Lee wants to know if there was a Weebles Hospital. A Weebles Hospital? I don't think so. That doesn't sound familiar. That doesn't sound familiar. I don't think there was Weebles Hospital. But I can pull the camper up because that was mentioned a couple of times. Because again, there are two different types of campers. There are two different types of campers. So it depends on which one. And let's see here. This camper I had when I was a kid, and I'm on the lookout for one. If I can find one, even loose complete, I'll take it. Look at that. That's classic. They want like $32 for postage though, which is outrageous. This is the camper set that I had. Is the motorcycle there? They do. See, that's the motorcycle I pointed out earlier when I said it was with the wrong set. The canopy that comes out and the little half-size door and the beds that pop out. I thought there was a dog with the set though. I might be wrong. This is the classic camper set right there. And there was a different camper, and I'll find a picture of that really quick. This camper my wife gave to me like last year. And she was like, I got you this because you had this when you were a kid. And I was like, it's the wrong one. No, I love it anyways, though. I don't care. I'm happy she gave it to me. This is the other camper that looks like it's like a pickup truck is on top. Or it's a pickup truck and you got the camper resting on top of it. Richard said they miss vintage toys. They were so much fun to play with when you were younger and made you think about things more than just TV and the phone. You had to use your imagination. Incredible. Yeah, you did. You had to use your imagination most of the time. But those are the two basic Weebles campers. Basic Weebles campers. And I didn't have much. I only had that one Weebles camper set when I was a kid. I didn't have any others. Other kids had Weebles, not me. And the only Fisher Price set that I had growing up was the Fisher Price garage. Who remembers the garage? It was like a 3-level multi-garage and it had a little elevator with a crank that you turned and a ramp that went around, and it came with 4 different colored cars. Robert remembers the cool Fall Guy truck. Not sure if it came with an action figure. I wonder if they had MacGyver or Magnum PI. No, they did not do MacGyver or Magnum PI. They did do, and it was Tonka, and they did a 3 3/4 inch Fall Guy figure of Lee Majors with his truck, and they also did the stunt plane, which yeah, and Dr. Cohen had the second camper. Okay, that's the one I have currently. Still, I do have the stunt plane set, but I do not have the truck. I do not have the truck set. They're very difficult to find. Logic had the Weebles boat, the one with the yellow top and working fishing rod on the back. And also famously, they had the are you talking about Fisher Price? Oh no, Weebles. the Fisher Price also had the Weebles yacht. The Weebles yacht that did float. Delroy said LJN made a Magnum PI with his Ferrari. Yeah, and then of course Kenner famously did the Knight Rider, the Knight Rider 2000 with the Michael Knight, and there was also a Michael Knight that was sold separately in a little box. That was a big figure though; it was like a 5-inch figure, and you know you can hunt around. I know that Ertl made little 2-inch die-cast figures of a few people. Robert wants to know how much the truck is going for, and does it come with a Fall Guy action figure? They both came with figures, and they're both going to be like insanely expensive. Hold on a second, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Because this is what he's referring to as seen on TV, sold in the Sears catalog. That's the Fall Guy stunt plane. And you see there's Lee Majors, there's the Fall Guy logo. Create your own stunts with Fall Guy, motorized biplane and action figure. And by motorized, it's not really motorized. It's got a trigger under the plane. You can't see it because the way it's turned. And you pull the trigger and it makes the propeller turn, which is demonstrated on the back right there. See, it's got a trigger. That's what they mean by motorized. You don't put, it says that it does take a C battery. I guess that's for the sound, because I think you're supposed to, I don't know if you hold the trigger or you pump the trigger. Actually, this was made in 1983. And it does come with the action figure. This is not sealed. I can show you the figure if you want to see it. Yeah, it does come with that action figure. It has the interior box. Like, you know, this was not a sealed box, but you can see how it's set up. And the Fall Guy, he should be sitting right there. Let me see. Because he's just kind of in the package. Yeah, okay. There he is. That's Lee Majors. 7 points of articulation, I think, right? His head turns? Yeah. Or 8, because he's got the swivel head. So that counts as 2. Side to side and up and down. That's your Lee Majors. His knees bend. Very similar, actually, the Tonka figures to Fisher Price Adventure People, but the Adventure People are just a little chunkier. A little chunkier than this. I'm trying to get it so the glare is not like right on him. And then, of course, the Fall Guy logo on his back. Dr. Cohen said he was going to start collecting Little People, but it was put off by the high prices for the vehicles. The figures loose aren't too bad. But yeah, again, this is just a very, very... if I could find the truck with the figure, I would certainly get it. Because this is but this is a very, very rare set. And when you do find it, usually it's not complete or it's played with or whatever. This is mint in the box. The sticker sheet is still intact. The stickers have never been applied because the images you see on the plane is bare. It comes with a sticker sheet. You have to put them on yourself. It has the figure and accessories. And I'm just like, I found this actually at the last Jolanta. And Richard misses Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight? Alpha Probe. From Fisher Price Adventure People, you mean Alpha Probe? Robert doesn't remember him having a mustache in the Fall Guy. Yeah, he doesn't have a mustache in the picture. Lee Majors. He doesn't have a mustache in the picture. That's true. And he started off with no mustache in the $6 Million Man, but then grew one in later seasons. So he did and did not have them. Rested is here. He says, looks like you have a lot more space there. Yes, indeed. Well, this is, of course, this is our media lounge. This is where we have all of the DVDs and vinyl records and comic books are in here. And, you know, magazines and all of that, video games are in this room. And so if we were ever going to entertain too, we could hang out here. And then the next room is the actual toy room. Lee had the Fall Guy truck. It didn't come with a figure. Wish I still had it. Well, let me look at the catalog. Do I have it pulled out here, or hold on a second? Is this the right year? All right, this is the 1983 Sears Wish Book catalog, Christmas Wish Book, and I'll flip through to the toy section and I'll find it, because I know Sears sold it in 1983. Okay, so just give me a moment here, and I'll look it up. I did a tour of this, a video tour of this catalog once. Fantastic. Lee had the Knight Rider remote control car from Radio Shack. But oh, look at those Lego sets. I always wanted that, the original Lego castle set right there. Remember that? And again, this is the 1983 Sears Christmas Wish Book that I'm flipping through. This is why I keep all of these guides and stuff, you know, because great for quick reference. And sometimes you remember, like I just did, hey, wait a minute, I know Sears sold that in 83. Let me go look in the book and see if I can spot it. There's G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, Crystar. I think that was Crystar. And I know they have Tonka vehicles. There's the Mego Dukes of Hazzard. Okay. Mego Dukes, right? And then right here, there they are. I'll try to get it in where you can see it. There's the stunt plane. And here's the truck. And there's the person that comes with it. There is an action figure with the truck. Okay. Stunt plane and truck right there. 1, 2. And then above it, and I think these are also Tonka. There's a military pack, a helicopter, a truck, and a little man. Right? And they also have the, oh, I love this too, the Wrangler Ranch set with action figures. And those are also 3 3/4 inch. And the, let me see here, Article 7, Fall Guy stunt plane, battery operated motor that'll spin the propeller and provide sound. Stuntman provides the action. $12.99. And then Article 6, Fall Guy pickup truck set, just like the real thing. Authentically styled pickup, has working sunroof, steel tailgate, tinted windows and operation winch, plastic steel pickup, Fall Guy figure included. Fall Guy figure included. And they're, again, infamously expensive and difficult to find now. And both of those are $12.99. Both of those are $12.99. And the Army set, number 4, I'm curious about that now. Tonka military set, transport truck, Army helicopter, in olive drab. And it comes with a figure. $19.99, $20. $20 in 1983. And T. Stewart is here. Says, kind of late. Who made that rocket you showed earlier? I was driving and couldn't look. Oh, the rocket. The Apollo moon rocket, processed plastic, made in the 1970s. Processed plastic. See the little PP in the corner? Made by Processed Plastic Company, Montgomery, Illinois. And that's one of my favorites, again, because I had it as a child. And then the Wrangler set here. And that's items 15 through 17. I believe the Wrangler brand products were also produced by Tonka. I could be wrong about that. I think they were made by Tonka. But they've got Wrangler merchandising information on it. There, I'll show you the Wrangler stuff again. And that's really hard to find as well. This kind of stuff is really obscure with the little 3 3/4 inch figures there. That stuff is harder to find than any G.I. Joe from that time period. And Marvel fans joining us, that's what I'm talking about. Try looking up Tonka Fall Guy on eBay. And then look up any raw G.I. Joe item. You'll find a million of them. And I'm not ranking on a raw era Joe. I love that stuff. But there's stuff out there that's a lot harder to find. Believe it. A lot harder to find that flies under the radar. People don't even know it existed. People don't even know it existed. And here's your original ad for the Sears exclusive Cobra Command headquarters, which is basically a big cardboard cutout. Robert wants to know what happened with processed plastic. Not sure. They probably just faded away as interest waned. Processed plastic and Tin Me and a lot of those companies just kind of faded away over time. No longer viable. A.J. Renzi. Who buys that kind of stuff anymore? People lose interest. People lose interest. Oh, and here, since it was brought up earlier, look at those Dungeons and Dragons sets with the little figurines that you can paint yourself. And I have also the 79. It's sitting back there on the floor right there. That's the 1979 Sears Wish Book catalog. And I had said that I was thinking about filming a walkthrough with that. But I would do that. I might do that as a live. I might film that live. Because it's so much. It's so much. And I had done a video of this once before. Just flipping through. But, I'll stop at, there's the Strawberry Shortcake Dollhouse. I bought that for my wife for our anniversary one year. Loose, of course. But, boxed, forget it. It's just not going to happen. I would flip through rather quickly on stuff like clothing, but try to focus more so on electronics and toys and games. But a walkthrough on a catalog like this, it takes a long time because it's so big. It's so big. Sears Wishbook catalog, I mean, it's going to be well over 600 pages. Well over 600 pages. The display name is here. But yeah, that was basically it. Those were the two sets that were made by Tonka for the Fall Guy. For the Fall Guy, cool sets. And again, if I ever found, or I could find, mint in the box, the truck, I would certainly get it. Highly unlikely, though. It's highly unlikely. But I was fortunate enough to find the plane. More than happy with that. Definitely. More than happy with that. I can't complain. I don't like to complain. I like how the Tonka trucks, by the way, you can get a free hard hat for your child with the purchase. I love that. Get the little hard hat. Fantastic. Delroy said South American company made a MacGyver figure. Was a glass light. I'm not sure who, but I know what you're talking about. They also did those little V figures, the ones that you saw in the actual miniseries that they never sold in the U.S. They did them in South America. Those are very expensive. So is anything MacGyver related. Very expensive. But there you go. That's how it happens. Munin said they mentioned it on an earlier video. Going through a Sears catalog would need its own live stream video. Yeah. I did do this one, though. For a few years back. I did this one. I've also done I've also got a Thanksgiving video collaboration. I've got it's at least a half an hour long, Thanksgiving 70s and 80s commercials. And I've got the Christmas one as well. And those are doing well right now. You didn't have to go back and watch that video. Check this out. Let me show you something here really quickly. Something else my wife did here. That's me without the beard. I've had the beard for quite some time, but that's me without the beard. No beard. That's actually a really good likeness of her. Really good likeness. I have a very pretty wife. I think so. Now, let me see here. Thanksgiving. I've got the retro Thanksgiving. And around the holidays, this stuff does pretty well. Hold on a second. I think I'm the only person on YouTube that has a Thanksgiving commercial compilation. That's the link. I think I'm the only person on YouTube that even has a Thanksgiving commercial compilation. I'm also the only one that has a full Carvel's one, a Halloween one, which was ignored this year, surprisingly. Or what's the other one? St. Patrick's Day. I'm the only one with the St. Patrick's Day commercial compilation. Or Easter, because I have Easter as well. And I'm just like, wow, you think there would be more interest? I mean, sincerely. But what are you going to do? And I'll show you the Christmas one. Christmas. I'll put the link up there. The Christmas one's a lot of fun. 70s and 80s. And then I was surprised, actually. This is the Sears Wish book. I did the 83 Sears Wish book. And it says it's an hour and 15 minutes. I thought it would be longer, honestly. Delroy wants to know if I have one for Publix. Not specifically. That's the Sears Wish book that I did. When did I do that? It was a few years ago. Let me fix something here. That's the Wish book catalog one. And I can, and I'll be posting those. Here's another image. I'll be posting those on the Facebook page anyways. Mr. Mine wants to know if I have service merchandise. I don't know. Let me see what I got. I'll show you the full list. I've got a lot, actually. I'll share that image with you here. Give me a minute, and I'll pull up my behind the scenes from ScrewTube. So this is what I have. I've got Shasta Cola, Inhumanoids, all the Inhumanoids commercials, Pillsbury Funny Face Drink Mix, Centurions, 80s and 90s Halloween, Charmin, Charmin the bath tissue. That one's 22 minutes long. It's some hard ones. Mother's Day. I'm the only one with the Mother's Day compilation. Easter. That's Carvel. Toys R Us. Child World. Terry Tate, linebacker, office linebacker, which is hilarious. That is funny as hell. Superman and Jerry Seinfeld. Burger King, from the very first Burger King commercial on. And Swiss Miss. I have some more. I know I have more than that. Something's missing. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Superman peanut butter. I thought something was missing. Superman versus nicotine commercials, anti-smoking PSAs. Mark's Big Wheel commercials. St. Patrick's Day. Valentine's Day. Chiquita Banana, the original movie short commercials from like the 1930s. Adam West Crossing the Street PSAs. I think that's it. Delroy likes the catalog tours. I had done one just recently. I did one just recently, and I'll probably, I'll try to do at least one more in the next few weeks. Again, with the situation with my father-in-law, it's not been easy for us. It's not been easy for us to get personal time, which again is why I'm doing this by myself without my lovely wife, because normally she would be here with us and sharing the conversation, but he can't be alone. He can't be alone, and she's again encouraged me to please do, hey, just go ahead and do a live stream anyways. And so here I am, because we hadn't been able to do it for weeks, and this is, like I had mentioned earlier, week 13. Today starts week 13 of having to mind him 24 hours a day. Robert says, try to send something your way, deny me? Maybe don't have anything I try. I don't know what you're talking about, Robert. You're trying to, who's denying you, Robert? But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to send something, I appreciate it, certainly. We have a P.O. box. Sometimes people do send things to us. Robert has sent some things to us before. Very generous of him. We appreciate it, actually. We appreciate all of you for joining us on the live stream, watching the videos, supporting the channel, even just by watching. Thumbs up, Robert wants to know, do we have a big wheel? No, I don't have a big wheel. They made some cool ones, and there's some really neat ones in the commercial. It's a short commercial compilation, but I had a really, really hard time tracking down halfway decent Mark's big wheel commercials. But they made a lot of amazing franchises. Somebody recently, and I saw them on Facebook because they were jumping out of their skin, they found a Smurf one from the 80s, and I'm like, oh hell, a Smurf big wheel and it's intact. That's pretty cool. But they franchised that all over the place. They made tons of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start signing off, because I do have to go out before it gets too dark, go out and tend to our shelter cats. So again, I want to say thank you to Pastor Rick, who made a donation to our shelter cats to help them out. Very much appreciated. All the help we can get taking care of our feline friends. Oh, Mr. Mind said, sorry you didn't win the award in the Comic Creators Award Show. You and LPH deserve it. I appreciate that. I mean, it's all right. It's nice to be nominated anyway. But again, I didn't think that the category was a good fit, personally. But it's okay. It's okay. Thank you, everyone else, for joining us here this evening. Glad you were able to spend some time with us, and we will try to do this again next week.